Joining me now is Navy veteran Joe Collins, who's running for Congress in California's 43rd District. Joe, thank you very much for joining us tonight. So you're going up against Maxine Waters. That's who you're challenging in this election cycle. But before we get there, I want to look at the big picture of this. We're in the state of California right now. That's where you're running. Bernie Sanders ran away with that election right there. I mean, he had a huge chunk of the votes, but he fell short in a lot of other places. Is that representative of where the California liberals are right now compared to the rest of the Democrat Party?
You know what? I think it is. And, Bernie Sanders, he did do well in California, but he didn't do better than President Trump. I think one of the biggest issues that we had when it came to voting was you have to be a registered Republican in order to vote for President Trump. And he did a really good job with 1.5 million votes.
I mean, that is pretty remarkable, especially, as you were saying, in the states such as California. And that's a state that I actually now want to focus on a little bit because California, I mean, that is a liberal beacon. You know, that's been that way for a long time. Republicans have had a really hard time kind of changing seats there. And in fact, the momentum seems to be going a little bit the other way. So where do you think the Republican Party should be doing in the state of California in order to be more competitive?
Well, I'll tell you this. With the failed policies from the Democratic Party in California, there is a huge wave of conservatism that is going on in California. But what we need is we need the support from the California Republican Party. We need them to support the candidates that are running against the liberals, especially in tough districts like Maxine Waters, the district that I'm running in. And also, it would help if the president would come down and have rallies in California as well. You know, he raised tons of money in California. He has a lot of support, but our voices are being suppressed by the liberals in California. But we need the leadership support. We need the leadership help to get our candidates over the line in November.
I think you're exactly right. And I think having the president come down, especially in an area like Orange County, for example, we saw that for the first time in U.S. history flip from completely red to completely blue. And that was a big part of the Democrat-led effort to take back the House. And I think that if President Trump were to come down there, kind of excite the Republican voters that are in California, because contrary to what a lot of people think, there are a lot of them. You look at a lot of the president's closest allies in the House, Devin Nunes, for example. I mean, they are there. And California is very much so important to not only the state, but also to his administration as well. So you are running against Maxine Waters, and she's been there, I think, for 15 terms now, something like that. She's been there for a long time. What are you doing to try to kind of excite voters in your own district and really try to upset Maxine Waters?
One thing that I'm doing is I'm actually being visible in the district. I told my team whenever we launched our race back in July that I wanted to actually work in a district as if I was already in Congress. So we've created tons of programs for the high schools and colleges, and we have economic development programs that we are getting ready to start. And we just have to let people know that you have an option. Right now, because Maxine Waters and a lot of the other Democrats have been in office for a long time, being poor in our district, living in poverty has become a norm. And we have to break that cycle. We have to break that normality. We have to show people that you have an option. You can generate your own wealth. You can be successful. You don't need the help of the Democrats giving you all of these handouts. We have to do it on our own.
And, you know, that's a message, actually, that people are quite literally buying into to some degree. I mean, you have a lot of individual contributions. I think you've raised up, FEC records show over $1 million in your campaign up to this point. So people are on board with that messaging. And acknowledging that point, too, do you think that that is a type of messaging that other Republicans across the state can kind of adopt a little bit and use in their own races? And even if it's an uphill battle, such as against Maxine Waters, do you think that is something that Republicans should at least do, put someone on the ballot and at least try to challenge these people?
You know what? I wouldn't necessarily say that. I think what we need is people who have like a moral compass, people who want to see everyone in our cities and our state do good, not just, Republicans or Democrats or challenging Democrats because you're a Republican. We need value, we need opportunities in our state, and that's what we're not getting. So we need to put quality candidates against these Democrats, and so we can flip the seats.
And so in your district, then, what are you doing in order to do that? You say that you're talking to the people, you're on the ground, almost kind of a grassroots type of movement, which I think is very important in today's politics. What issues have you noticed are important ones?
The issues that are very important is quality jobs. Because of taxes, businesses are leaving California. Without quality jobs, it increases the homelessness population that we have. So one thing that we're trying to tackle is how can we provide an incentive for quality businesses to come back to our district. That's the biggest thing. I think, if you tell me that money is an issue, bring in jobs, quality jobs will solve that issue. And then we can continue to move forward from there with fighting taxes and getting California back in line with the federal constitution.
Yeah, and whatever you're doing it right. You're moving on to the general election in the jungle primary that you were one of the top two. You're not going to be facing off against Maxine Waters come the general. If any of our viewers want to learn more about Joe Collins and his campaign, you can go to joecollinsforcongress.com. Joe, I really appreciate you coming on tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.